Alright, so both of the headlights are properly sanded and they're ready for a polish and clear. But before we do that, we want to bake them and disassemble them and get them done the right way. I've never done that before, and I very well might crack my headlight doing this, so just be warned that it is not a surefire method. It's been done many times, but it's also been ruined many times. So just be aware that you may break your headlight doing this. It's not always worth it. In my case, I think it is. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is remove all the accessories off the light. I'll remove the bulbs, the extra housings, anything that can be removed, I'm going to go ahead and remove. We're going to be baking these at about 250 degrees for a couple of minutes, see if we can get that glue to loosen up. But we don't want to damage any of the sensitive electronics, so let's go ahead and pull them apart. Okay, so just sat down in the kitchen. I've got a towel down to protect the table. I have the oven preheating to 250 degrees. I'm going to leave this headlight in there for 7 minutes, and then I'll grab it and it should be able to separate. If you look around the sides, there's a couple of tabs that hold the whole thing together. We've already removed the screws from the back. A few more tabs on the back. So what we're going to do is leave it in there for 7 minutes, pull it out, start at a corner, probably this corner will be the easiest, and just get a flathead screwdriver, jam it in there, kind of work it around. Don't worry too much about bending the plastic, because you can always bend it back later. Just be careful not to scratch anything on the inside or use excessive force and crack something. It may take heating it up twice to get it done. I just did the other one and it only took one try. As you can see, we got the whole thing pretty much pulled apart. But yeah, it's actually not too bad. Just be patient. The glue is going to be super sticky and it's going to stay hot for quite a while, so you don't need to be in a huge rush. Just be sure to pull up on these tabs so you don't break anything. And yeah, I'm going to throw this in the oven. Okay, so the headlight is out. I'm going to use this towel to hold on to it so I don't get burned. It's not super hot, but it's toasty. I'm going to go ahead and start at this corner like I said. The glue is now very soft and pretty easy to get into, so I'm just lightly pry. See, if you apply pressure, it'll actually start moving. You don't really need to be super aggressive with it. There we go. Now we'll go along the top here. We'll undo this clip. There we go. I'm just pushing on it and giving it a little time to fully separate from the housing. There we go. Nice. You'll see it start to move. Another clip. Now at this point, you're pretty much in the home stretch. With the top clips removed, there's really no tension on the underside ones, so you can just grab them, pull, grab, pull, and then grab and pull on these ones, pick it up, and separate it. There we go. It's that easy. The glue is obviously very soft and stringy and kind of annoying to deal with, but if you let it cool off, it becomes a bit more manageable. You just take your finger and kind of squish the strings back into the glue. Some people just reheat these and squish them back together and use that as the seal. I'll probably do something similar, but instead of using heat, I will use a little bit of RTV or silicone. I'll put a very small amount in the perimeter, squish them back together, and it should reseal just fine. At this point, there's 3 screws on the inside that hold in the reflector. We'll remove those and we can get started. So pulling them apart definitely wasn't too bad. Just take your time and be careful with it. I didn't break any tabs and it looks like these will go back together really nicely. So I'm happy with that. This assembly is held in by 3 screws on the back. They're, again, the Torx style screws. I went ahead and pulled this apart ahead of time because it's actually a bit of a pain. This piece has 2 tabs on it. There's one on this end and one on this end. And they click into here like that. On this piece, the yellow piece clips onto it, and then there's a metal bracket on the back that's kind of stuck. So what I did, when I pulled this apart, I was a bit too aggressive and actually sliced my thumb on this thing, so be careful because this is quite sharp. So what I did is I pulled this apart, I actually bent the plastic on this, just lightly bent the yellow, and it did actually pop off, and then the 3 pieces separated. So now what you can do is you can just reinstall this and put it back in your housing. And there's the inside piece. And you can see this bar holds the yellow plastic in. So we're gonna have to remove that bar. On the back, like I said, there's a clip here and a clip here. and then the orange plastic slides into these grooves on the top. So you have to unclip the front of the bar and then slide the whole thing forward to get it to come out. It's a bit of a pain. I'll do it here on camera, but I'm going to fast forward it if it takes a long time because it took me probably 8 minutes on the first one. So we'll try it out. Wow, okay, so that was way easier the second time. Remove this front side, pivot it up, and then tilt it towards the top of the headlight, and it comes out at a nice angle like that. So, once you know, it's really easy. All right, so here's the housings once they're reassembled. You can see this piece is back in. At this point, you could definitely repaint them. These are a deep charcoal, and I was planning on painting these black, but I'm going to be painting my roof rack a deep charcoal and the front grille a deep charcoal as well. So having these headlights kind of match might actually look a little bit better, but at this point you can do obviously whatever you want. Some people actually black this ring out as well, which looks pretty cool. But anyways, that's reassembled. I'll go ahead and put these back together and we'll get them on the car. Okay, so to get them resealed, what I've done is I've taken a heat gun and heated up the area. A little bit at a time, and then use a flathead screwdriver to kind of smear the glue flat. I did that all the way around the perimeter on this piece as well as on the lens. I made it as smooth as I could. What we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and throw them back in the oven, get them baked and soft, and then we'll add a little bit of RTV around the edge and squish them back together. Okay, so we're on a bit of a time frame now. The headlight is in the oven and both halves are baking and getting nice and soft again. We're going to be on a bit of a time frame, so I'm going to pull them out here and quickly put a bead of silicone in the housing side of the light. Just a thin bead to make sure that it takes up any gaps that the butyl rubber can't melt into. And then we'll go ahead and smash them together quickly, put even pressure on it, make sure that all of the clips on the bottom and the top re-clip, and then we will install the 3 screws from the back and let it sit for about 5 minutes to cool off, and then it'll be done. Press it back together. And here as I squeeze it, the little snaps. There we go. Careful not to crack it, but what I'm doing now is just pressing my body weight. Okay. So the last step is putting a coat of clear on these. For that I am using the Spray Max 1K Clear Acrylic. This stuff works really well, but it's a little bit finicky, so be sure to read the label, shake it very well before you use it, and then do one thin coat, set a timer and wait at least 3 minutes. It says 3 to 5 minutes, so just follow the directions, and then put on a medium wet coat and possibly a third coat as well, and then we'll see how they look. But this stuff should keep it looking good for years to come. I'm going to go ahead and put on my mask and my goggles to keep myself safe, and let's do it. Okay, so for some reason my camera didn't record that last coat, but I ended up doing a total of 3 coats. They look fantastic, and I'm just going to let them dry for 24 hours before I handle them and put them back in the car.